When I was little, I had some really traumatic things happen to me. And I think that definitely affected my sexuality. And I made a video about it too, 2 videos ago. And a lot of my friends who were gay also, like almost all of them, had problems with their dad when they were growing up. When they were little, they had problems where their dad wasn't in their life, where there was a single mom, they were raised by their grandparents. It's just like a reoccurring theme. And I know some gay people are born gay, and this video is about how I kind of started being gay. It wasn't just like, it didn't just happen for me. I didn't really even have gay thoughts. I didn't have a lot of sexual thoughts till later in my childhood growing up. But let's just dive right into it. It kind of started out, unfortunately, watching porn online. There was some kind of gay, I don't want to say the words, but it was like Guantanamo Bay, like prison style video. And I think it was actually educational, but it came off as like a porno. And I was watching that in middle school one summer. And ever since then, I watched gay porn like every single day. Like, not every single day, but like quite a few days. You know what I mean? And would just get off to that in my bedroom. And that was my life, sadly. And that habit continued all the way until I was like 18, 19, where I discovered you could stream yourself online naked and you can make money from it. So I was like, heck yeah. So I started streaming myself off and on, maybe like a couple times a year, then like maybe a couple times a month, all the way till I was a junior in college. And I was about to go back home for break, and then I downloaded Grinder. I was like, screw it. Like, apparently it's really easy to get laid by another dude. Might as well try it. I'm an adult. Like, I was really nervous. So I ended up going to meet up this guy, pick up this guy at like, I don't know, 4, 3 a.m. It was really, really late on like a Friday after I finished streaming on that site and making some money. And I went and picked him up, met him off of Grinder. He was a freshman at college. I was a junior. Picked him up in my car. We drove around for a little bit. We didn't know where we were going to drive. And he ended up going down on me in the back of my car. We thought we were going to get caught, so we had to drive somewhere else. I was like a little paranoid. Went into this like neighborhood cul-de-sac, and he went down on me for like 30 or 40 minutes. No kissing, really nothing else, just his mouth. And did that for like 30, 40 minutes. I didn't really even reciprocate. I was like, dude, that felt amazing. I couldn't finish. I was too nervous. Sorry, I had a light bulb go out. But that was a really good, fun, chill experience. We talked about doing it again, but we never did. I never did. He wanted to do some more, and I just never wanted to go there. So I did it again with someone also that was like brand new on Grinder. He happened to live literally like across the street. And this was more after I got back from break. And then I kept doing more and more with dudes from the app. I think the second time or third time, I probably hooked up with like 2 or 3 dudes that one day. I went from one dude to another dude to another dude. It was just fun, dude. And I was like, damn, this is easy. Like, I'm having a good time. So I did that off and on, and then I started inviting them onto my show where I streamed, and I made the most money when I had a partner, like most people would. And it was going well, and then some dudes, like, they wanted to start spending the night, and I was like, I just can't do that. I have 3 roommates. I'm not ready to like come out. Like, I don't want them to know they weren't like the most judgy people, but they were all in like fraternities. So, and our walls were paper thin. They have they've got to have heard they had to have heard something. So I think they knew what was up. I didn't talk about it. I remember one night leaving my apartment at like 2 or 3 a.m. and my roommate and his girlfriend were like, "Where are you going? Where are you going, Alex?" And I was like, "Hooking up." They were like, "Oh, good for you." So yeah, that's kind of like how I started doing gay stuff. I never really had gay thoughts till then, aside from like watching gay porn that I would just kind of get off to, and it was more like a fetish. I've never really like in real life appreciated a dude. It was more like a jealous thing where I was like, damn, that's a really good looking dude. I wish I looked like that. You know what I mean? So that kind of like, I guess you could call it attraction. And so anyway, I ended up getting my real job. I moved to Austin, Texas. I stopped doing gay stuff for a while. Then of course I got bored, downloaded Grindr, and started hooking up with dudes. Started hooking up with a lot of dudes. And Austin was, it's a big city, but a small city. It's a small city that offers all the big city stuff. You have the big music, the festivals, people travel to Austin. Not as much as LA or New York City or Miami, but it's still pretty touristy. So I was just nervous a lot. I didn't know anyone in that city. Work was extremely stressful for me, so I started getting with some dudes, and a lot of them like were super super hot. I'll talk more about those hookups in another video, but I ended up being more of like the submissive in that city. Not all the time, but definitely like more of a bottom. And I think that pretty negatively affected my self-esteem. It just like negatively affected me overall. I have this issue where I blame everything on my sexuality and everything that goes wrong in my life. I blame it all on my sexuality and like my sexual experiences. And I'm realizing those two they shouldn't really have a correlation. And I waste a lot of energy and time, and it's just not true. So I started being more gay there. I hooked up a lot. For the first time, I went to like a gay club, had some fun. I finally met some gay friends. I was like, wow, this is actually really cool. I was like, is this what it's like to have friends? Like, is this what it's like to be somewhat normal? Because up till then, I had really bad social skills. And maybe I'll talk about that in a separate video. But I had really, really terrible social skills. I homeschooled when I was a really little kid. Thankfully, I got sent off to middle school and high school, but I was always very socially challenged. And I think that has to do with some PTSD from the video I made a couple of videos ago. So anyway, I like kept hooking up. I remember one dude, he wanted to like, I think we met from Tinder, and he wanted to like hold my hand at the shopping mall, the big outdoor shopping mall. And I knew some of my coworkers lived there, and I really didn't care about what they thought, but just like holding his hand in public, he asked me, and we did it for a little bit. And it just felt really, really weird. It felt really, really weird. And I think that was because I was in Texas. Even though I was in the most liberal city ever, in Texas, it was still Texas. So it just felt really weird. It felt really weird to hold another dude that was like way more muscularly than me. And it felt weird that this guy really liked me, and it was just too much. It was too much. So I like stopped holding his hand, and we went back to his place. We hooked up, and I never saw him again because it felt really weird to me. Okay, so fast forward, I was like, okay, well, let me just move to LA. I ended up quitting my job, and I also had some weird relationships when I lived in Austin. I had this weird 55-year-old relationship I made a video about. I met the VP at one of my companies who was a DL. I didn't hook up with that many older dudes, maybe 3 or 4. But yeah, I just had like, I never really crossed my mind I wanted a boyfriend. I tried, it didn't really work out that like 1 or 2 times. So I hooked up. I hooked up a lot. Every weekend I went out and drank and did drugs, and then I would hook up. And it'd usually be someone I meet in person, a friend of a friend, or I would just get on the apps and have a good time, dude. You know, young and just living it up. But I became hollow, more and more hollow over time. And then I ended up visiting LA for the first time. I was like, wow, this is an amazing city. And I was in Little Tokyo, which it's not known to be super gay or anything. Not like West Hollywood. And I came out of my hotel with my backpack on, and this dude, he literally played baseball in college. Most like masculine dude ever. I had no idea he was gay. And I don't think he had a clue that I was gay either. Because he asked me what I was doing. We were like small talking. He thought I was like a visitor. And I told him, I was like, oh, I'm gonna meet up with a dude. And then he was like, oh, dang, like, he was just like, dang. I was like, dang, well, we should just go meet up. Like, what are you doing the rest of the night? He had no plans. He just happened to be in Little Tokyo. He never goes there, except maybe like a few times. He was just walking around, wandering, chilling, and we ended up like having the most amazing dinner ever. Took me to like Sugarfish for the first time. It was like, it was a dream. It was a really, really good dream. He wasn't that much older. He was like, I don't know, maybe 30, 32. And it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. Had an amazing time with him that night. And then I ended up going to WeHo the next night, hooking up with someone else. That was an amazing time. I ended up texting the dude that I met the first night, the one I had an amazing night with. It was so fun. We went to dinner, we went to arcades, we were cuddling, we were touching each other. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I was still a little nervous, but I was like, this feels really, really good. We had fun at his place. He lives in like the nicest place ever. We walked around Marina Del Rey. It was just like dream come true. I was like, okay, I'm definitely gay. That was the best time ever. I've never felt so amazing before. I'm moving to LA. Well, I didn't think about moving to LA. I ended up texting him, and then I went out again to LA. I was like, hey dude, like, is there any way you can show me around? Like, I would love to learn, love to see more in LA. And he was down. I went over there for a long weekend, just stayed at his place, really nice place. It was a dream come true, dude. We had so much fun. We went to like Santa Monica, we went to Venice, we went to all the beaches, we just drove around, we walked together. It was so fun. He took me to his favorite dive bar, and he also had problems being gay. I was like, wow, like this is amazing. I was like, okay, I'm definitely gay. So I ended up quitting my job. I was like, life is short. I have to move to LA. So I just took everything I had, put it in my car, took my dog, and we booked it to LA. Literally, I never saw the apartment. Just saw it online, crossed my fingers, got there, and I was like, okay, I'm living in LA now. And I was like, I'm gay. I got off the apps. I just wanted to focus on finding a job, but eventually I couldn't do that. I had to get on the apps. and hooked up with some dudes. Lots of crazy people in LA. Everyone has like the blue check mark. Everyone has plastic surgery. Everyone goes to the gym. Everyone has an Equinox subscription. It's just like all these really, really hot men. You'd be like, wow. You would have never have thought gay people would live like this. Because if you grew up in a suburb or a small town, you didn't grow up in California, you would have, all you thought about were the gay kids. There was like maybe one or two that were hot, but they were very popular or whatever. Like they did their own thing kind of thing. And then the rest of them were just like emo, or not even emo, but they were just like outsiders, queer, like just atheists, like, you know, that kind of vibe where they were just kind of off in their own little bubble. There weren't like regular gay people out at my high school. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm like living my life in LA. Eventually I get on the apps, I'm hooking up with some people. And then I finally got my first boyfriend. And I call my boyfriend because we were together for like 7 or 10 days and he ended up flying me back to Scotland. And that's a whole nother video. But that was the first time I was like with a dude and he actually liked me, or I thought he liked me. And that was the first time we were like together every day for like a week or like 10 days or however long it was. And I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of cool. All right, and then I had my second boyfriend. My second boyfriend met at a club. We ended up doing so many amazing things together, like driving up to San Francisco, going to a rave, going to hot springs together, hiking, walking, him just staying over. I was like, wow, this is what a boyfriend is like. I ended up not being as attracted to him as I thought I'd be, but it was fun. It was fun. It was a good time. He's a good dude. Very, very masculine. Very masculine. So masculine that girls would get upset that he was gay. And that's kind of a common theme with the dudes I've been with. Very, very masculine. Third boyfriend, it was just perfect. Like he talked so much. I loved it. He just was so detailed, and like he talked the way I talk, and we had similar interests, but we had different backgrounds, and it was just an amazing experience, dude. We probably like, oh, it was just amazing. He was physically attractive. He was so smart. He had such a similar like background as I did, and he was European, but had been in America for like 5 or 10 years, and went to an Ivy League school, and it was just like, he actually really liked me too. He thought I was so sexy. We both liked nude beaches. We both liked food. We both liked, like, our favorite cafes were the same. It was so nice, dude. And unfortunately, I ended up, I'm gonna make this in a whole nother video, but I ended up doing some mushrooms for the first time, and I ended up sleepwalking for like 6 hours straight, and I ended up saying all kinds of homophobic stuff, and oh god, dude, it was extremely embarrassing. And then he was also an atheist, and he was really busy with work, and I was saying all this stuff about Jesus when I couldn't even, I had no idea I was even walking. It was bad, dude. And I felt so embarrassed, so extremely embarrassed. We kept talking, and then he just didn't reply to one of my texts, and ended up moving to a small town in Georgia, and that's where I'm at now. And I want to accept that I'm gay. It's just, there's so much to it that I'm going to make a separate video about it. So hopefully you enjoyed listening to my story about being gay. Again, this is my personal story. I know some people who are born gay. I know some people who bi, and I think there's different types of gay. There's DLs, there's straight men with wives that want to have fun with a dude every now and then, or send pics. So I hope you enjoyed this story. It feels really good just to put it out there.